Hello world, it's Kurtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. Yep, I'm gonna take off one of those layers. So we're here in Indiana and I'm just enjoying this beauty. Place that I came a lot this year, well 2021 actually. I moved out by Turkey Run. That's actually the backside of Turkey Run State Park. Man, I spent a lot of time down here throwing rocks with the kids and kayaking and floating downriver and, even playing with the dog, playing fetch down here, swimming, just enjoying it. And this is the first time I've got to see it where it's, you see it moving, the ice, the glaciers. It's just beautiful, right? Well, the thing is, I used to hate winter, hated it. I think I have like a low iron count or a little bit anemic. I'm not for sure. I should probably get tested and eventually I'm going to, I promise. But see what it was when I got cold, I would shake, like I would shiver. I'll be with a group of friends. Say we were at a bar. We go outside. They would all smoke. I was never a cigarette smoker, but I go out because I'm like, man, I'm not gonna just sitting here alone when everybody's going out there. And I'd be standing with the whole group of people and they'd be fine. And I would be the one shivering, right? So I got to where I just hated the cold. But see, the thing is, I finally realized that if I layered up, I didn't mind it so bad. So I've got this suit, man, it's amazing. It's Frigidaire, or however you say it, suit. It's rated for negative 40 degrees. And see, I was working outside all day today. And I'll tell you, there was a couple times where I got a little bit chilly, but for the most part, I had to actually take off my Carhartt jacket that was inside this because I had on too many layers and I was almost borderline sweating, right? So even my gloves, I'll show you. So I had one and you take that one off and I've got two, right? I even had to have 2 layers of gloves. And see, multiple times in the day, I had to take off this hood. I'll take off that hood. I'd have to pull this down. Yep, that's gray hair. I don't care. And my chin. But I'd even have to pull that down because when I got working, like it was hot. I was sweating. And see, that's the worst part of the cold is when you layer up, if you start sweating, then you can mess around and get sick because you're hot and you're cold and you're hot and you're cold, right? But see, one, I wanted to talk to you about that because I know a lot of people that also just despise winter. Even though in Indiana, it's like you almost got cold for 6 months of the year. So it's like, how do we get used to it? Well, first of all, I just want to tell you to layer up with your clothes. But see, this is Boundless Inspiration, and it's all about not having things hold you back on any layer of life. So, whenever you're getting stuck inside a lot because you're like, I don't want to go out in the cold. Well, it's like, what if you layered up your clothes? Because see, I've got hoodies, I've got thermal underwear, bottoms and tops. Like, I'm layered up. I have 2 pairs of socks on, 1 long socks and then 1 wool socks for my feet. Like, you got to get the right boots for the outside. And it's like, what if you stopped limiting yourself? And I'm speaking for me as well because I'd limit myself. I'd be stuck inside all winter, and then you gain that winter weight because you're sitting, you're not exercising, you're eating because when you get bored, you eat. You may go to the fridge multiple times, and the first couple times you're like, there ain't nothing in there. And then like the 3rd or 4th time, you're like, screw it. I mean, whatever it is. Maybe I'm going to the pantry and I'm going to smash a whole bag of chips. I don't know. That's how that weight comes on in the winter, and you got to say, man, I got to get beach body ready, right? But it's like, what can I do differently this year? Because that's all that last year mattered, was a lesson that's teaching us for this year. There's nothing you can do differently about last year, but there is something you can do differently today to have an alternate outcome than you did last year. So 1, layer up on the clothes, get out, come to places like this. You know what? Like, still go hiking. I mean, what's the difference? I have a buddy that rides his motorcycle all year long because he wears suits like this, and he's actually got one where it gets really cold. He can plug it in and it heats up. It's got layers of heat in his whole suit, his gloves, his shoes, whole 9 yards, right? Sometimes you got to put some hot hands in the gloves. Do what you got to do. But don't let something limit you, especially, I mean, this beauty today. Like as soon as I pulled up and I was like, man, I get to see the whole new view of this river that I've been to so many times. And it's gorgeous. I'm so grateful that I didn't limit myself and I was able to come down and see this, right? Okay, so we know we can layer up on clothes, but where else can we layer up in our life for protection? See, I realized that there was going to be curveballs in so many areas of my life. You know, it's like they say you're either going through or coming out of a storm. And even when you're not, likely somebody that you love and care about is your family member, your friend, a coworker that you're close to. Like that's how life is. We go through some stuff. And it's like, you know, I realized at times in my life I was somehow blindsided by the shit show that was coming. And it's like, how do I go into this year and not be blindsided? Well, one, you got to expect it. So even if you're having an amazing time of your life right now, everything's going smooth, it's like, just know it's coming. It's coming somehow, some way. Car's going to break down. I just got a flat tire the other day, ran over a nail, was about to head to work. First thing in the morning, it's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, I got a flat tire. So then I was late to get to the job site, and it's like, because I had to put air in it, go get some, it was going flat almost instantly. So I got fixed a flat, got to the job site. Well, actually on the way there, I stopped at a gas station halfway, put air in it. When I was done working at the end of the day, I had to put air in it. Headed straight to a tire shop. They was closed because of COVID. They done changed their hours. They closed at 5:30. I was there at like 5:45. So I had to go the next day. Luckily it was Saturday, so I was able to go. Just took off work and, you know, like, screw it, I'm not working today. But that was a curveball. And, you know, there's times in my life where I would have let that affect my day. But I was like, you know what? Things happen for me, not to me. And you're like, well, how can a flat tire that costs you money be for you? Well, as far as I know, there could have been a wreck that I would have got into if I would have been on time that day. Right? And there's times where I actually was heading somewhere and got held behind. I'm not joking. This has happened multiple times in my life. And I was like, I was trying to get there by this time. And next thing you know, I actually saw a wreck that had just happened. And I was like, if I wouldn't have got stuck at those 3 red lights in a row, that wreck I would have been in. I could have died. So many people die in car wrecks. And it's like, thank you that I got that flat tire. That saved me from something, and I know it. There was a reason why I got that flat tire. And it's hard to look at in the midst of it. So there are going to be things that throw you curveballs, but like, how can I layer up and protect myself going into things? Well, one, you know they're coming, so just be ready for it so they don't shock you. But 2, it's how you handle it. Like, I could have very easily, and I have before, where I got a flat tire and I'm like, poor me, bull, blah, blah, what? Let it affect my day. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to have a great day and I'm going to laugh about that stupid tire because it's just a tire. You know what? Thankfully, also, I'm blessed to have an amazing person in my life who just happens to own JR's Used Tires, who gives the whole city killer deals. I don't even have to ask him for a discount. He gives the whole city great deals on tires because he's a man of God. So it's like, you know, what is it? It's just cash. It's just something that you can make more of. So why allow it to affect your day? There's this beauty out there, folks. Life is beautiful. And we go through some hard stuff where you're like, well, how did you go from being negative and allowing stuff to affect you like that? You know, as much as people want to doubt God, when I gave my life to God and I started seeking, reading the Bible and going to church, and it changed the way that I started to handle things. Was I changed instantly? No. And you know what? Unfortunately, there are hypocrites out there that once they start going to church, that they point their fingers and talk down on you and judge you. And that's not how it's supposed to be, folks. But the thing is, for instance, a Bible verse that always comes to my mind is Ephesians 6:10. It's talking about the armor of God. And it's talking about the belt buckle, the chest plate, the shield, like having faith and the peace and praying. And see, the thing is like the true church should be about joy and love and forgiveness and grace and mercy and not judging, yet looking at the positive and looking at the fact that our Creator has a purpose for everything. And you may not understand it, but it was like, you know what? Those times when I was getting frustrated because I was behind, I really felt like God was saving my life because I have a purpose on my life and He's not ready for me to go to heaven yet. There's something that I've got to do on this earth, and that's why He kept me. And even if you're dealing with death, somebody has passed away, where you're like, well, how did that make sense? Why was He done with them? Well, you never know why somebody's death may push you into becoming the amazing version of yourself. I've seen people that die of cancer and then their loved one started a cancer research or something. It provoked them to do, I saw this lady that did Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and it took her losing her child to a drunk driver. But now it's causing all kinds of drinking while driving awareness. And see, that inspired her to do something amazing with her life. And if you're going through something like that, I just invite you to look at it as it happened for you, and how can you make something amazing out of even those hard times. So we're layering up in our mind. If you don't believe in God, or you don't go to church, or you don't read the Bible, I don't judge you. I don't. I've been there a lot of my life. And there's still times where I want to argue, like, man, is there a God? Is there not a God? Excuse me. There's times when I still, because, we're humans who like to see things like, I can believe that there's water and ice right there because I can see it, I can touch it, I can feel it. So how do you have belief in something that you don't see? Well, that's faith. Okay, so even when I'm not reading the Bible or listening to sermons on YouTube from different amazing pastors that I love and I follow, I've found that I have my station almost set on 90.5 at all times. It's K-Love. And they've got some hit music now. Like back in the day, I was like, man, this crap's going to put me to sleep. But it's like, that's one of my layers of protection, is what I'm listening to and putting in my mind. What I'm watching and putting through my eyes. See, I get up and it's like a habit now. I just turn on sermons and I'm listening to them as I'm brushing my teeth, as I'm shaving, as I'm getting ready, as I'm getting my clothes ready to go to work. And, so it's just another layer of protection. Okay, well, I don't do none of that, Chris. I don't read church, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, reading. Right? What are you reading? Are you reading books to improve, self-help books, self-growth books to grow your mind and help your wisdom? It's said by many successful people, wisdom's more important than money, because wisdom will bring you success and happiness and joy and peace when you learn how to get through anything that you're going through. Okay, so my mind is somewhat covered, right? Well, there's days that I don't feel like it. And that's why I tell you, one of the layers of protection is accountability partners in your circle. See, at times I've had some friends, and I have to admit that I've been that friend at times where I was that Debbie Downer or negative or toxic or troublemaker. Man, I could be the leader of that pack, jumping off that bridge. Like, hey, would you jump off your friends if you're, or would you jump off that bridge if your friend did it? And, there's a lot of people that be jumping off that bridge because I was the first one. I was a hellion. I went through some hell as a child, and it just turned me into the problem child, like Dennis and Menace type shit. I'm not joking. And you know what? There's some people out there that can testify, but it's not about where you came from. It's about where you're going. It's who you are today, as if you was better than you was yesterday. And that's what I chose to do, was when I finally started getting some knowledge in my mind, it's like, okay, you know what? You're smart enough to not do those silly things again. Because, man, your son might start seeing you do it. He's going to pick it up. I'm reaping some of what I sowed. But it's like, That's another layer of protection, is changing your circle, being intentional about who you allow in your life and what you put in your life. I've realized what I've watched has changed. I don't rarely ever watch TV. But like last night, I was just kind of worn out. I had left the gym and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to flip through the channels and just see what's on. And I was just like, I was looking at some of the stuff that I used to watch. I was like, man, it doesn't even interest me anymore. And I found myself, I was like, what do I want to watch? What do I want to watch? And then next thing you know, I saw this about Billionaire Brothers or something like that. And, you know, obviously it's a show that is about financial wealth and investing and stuff like that. And I was like, yep, I'll check it out. Kind of bored me. There was a lot of commercials. You know, I caught it like mid-episode, so I didn't know exactly what was going on. I was like, But still, like, everything that I was looking at was, I realized, like, it just had become a habit to where I was looking for the positive stuff, and all that negative crap that I almost clicked on, I was like, you know, I almost even clicked on one of the Terminators, and I was like, man, that's just garbage going into my mind. I'm not going to watch that. That's a layer of protection. It's just like this ice. It got built. And then it just became a habit and it protected me. So it's like, how can I protect my mind? How can I protect my heart? How can I protect my soul? How can I protect my body? And for you, you know, there's so many ways that we can protect ourselves. You know, I didn't even list even a portion of just all the different ways that we can protect ourselves in life and layer up. But it's like, today I just invite you to think, in what areas of my life do I need some protection? You know, I thought about how many times I was weak at things, like things that I really wasn't that great at. And I'm judging this based off of some of the failures I had, or, you know, I would say the mistakes I had. But see, once you make the same mistake twice, that second time, it's not a mistake, it's a decision. So where was it where sometimes I made a dumb decision multiple times? You know, that's the areas where I was like, I need some protection. I need some layers of help to guide me, to shape me, to mold me, to protect me. That's why I got mentors. I speak to them on the daily. That's why I have a counselor. I speak to her every single week. That's why I have multiple accountability partners, because if one of them gets busy with life and I don't reach out to them or they don't reach out to me, like almost every single day, somebody is messaging me and be like, hey, what's up? What you doing? Where you at? What are you on? Are you staying focused? I needed that layer of protection, and I knew it based off of areas where I had struggled before. It's all right, folks. We're human. See, I used to think that it made me weak by admitting this, but it was actually when I started admitting it that it makes you strong. And that's the area of growth, when you get it out of your mouth like, hey, I messed up. What do you know? I'm human, just like you. And we could go ahead and point at me. Remember them 3 at you and the 1 at God. It doesn't work. So I'm like, just like I'm looking in this video, in this camera, that man in the mirror, I'm looking at the beauty. You know what? That crap that happened, those layers those times when I didn't have those layers and I messed up. It is what it is, folks. I was talking to somebody today about some of the bull crap I went through as a kid, and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, don't be sorry. I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to hear my story, and I'm not telling you this in a victim mentality or to compare how bad your life was to my life. That was not what I was trying to tell you that. It was to tell you that I've been there before, I've hurt before, I've struggled before, I went down the wrong path when I didn't maturely be intentional about the direction and the help and the healing that I needed to get, and I was a ticking time bomb. I resorted to a lot of the bad things, drugs, alcohol, anger, sex, all that stupid crap, because I was empty and I didn't have to be. I could have put on these layers a long time ago and got the healing, because I'm telling you, that person said, but man, every time I've been around you, you're just so joyful and happy and positive. And I said, yeah, because I put on the layers, and I finally stopped with that victim bullcrap and took ownership, looked myself in the mirror and said, how can I get through this, get the healing, and grow and come into a place of beauty, joy, happiness. Oops, this way, that sunset, man, I love the sunsets and sunrises. So today I just ask you, think about it. As you listen to my story, I'll keep it like this so you guys might get distracted by that beautiful view instead of this face. Where in your life, where in our lives, still even today, I'm thinking, where in my life do I need some layers of protection? My little nose is getting cold, my chin's getting cold. That's a spot, right? It's hard to look at yourself and say, where am I not being the best version of me? Sometimes it's necessary, because that's the only way you're going to get growth. Don't be hard on yourself. Just be honest with yourself and authentic with yourself, and come from a place of understanding and forgiveness and grace, but also accountability of being the source and taking ownership, because like hey, I'm going to get better. If you know somebody that would love to see this video, please like, share, comment. Tell me a place where you're like, you know what, Kurtis, thank you for this video. I need a layer of protection in this area of my life. Give me some feedback. Hey, if you're humble enough to put that, if not, just give me a story, a testimony of somewhere that you did a layer of protection and it's worked out amazing for you. We love hearing success stories in the comment section. That helps other people. If you know what, I only said a handful of ways to layer up. Give me a different way of layering up that I didn't even mention. Put in some of the comments about how, hey, have you ever thought of this layer? This was a big one for my life, or even if it wasn't your life, hey, I saw one person taught me this. That was a layer that they did for their life, and it was amazing. Let me hear them, because that's the only way that everyone on your timeline is going to see this, and we're going to build this into something amazing, because every single day we're all together getting a step closer to being boundless, baby. I love you all. Thank you for the support, and you all have an amazing day. I can't even hit the button with these gloves.